Another big win out of the Trump administration. On June 17th, the administration announced that taxpayers will no longer be funding an LGBTQ plus specific option on the 988 crisis hotline. As you can imagine, this has triggered the left and the LGBTQ activists, but this is a huge win, especially when it comes to protecting children. I'm going to give you all the details today. Hey, everybody, I'm Julie Barrett, and I'm the founder of Conservative Ladies of America. And this particular subject is very personal to me. The 988 crisis hotline is something that is taught to children in the public schools. In Washington State, in particular, which is where my children went to school, they promote this 988 line to the students in school. It is also promoted through the Washington State Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction. There is a lot of taxpayer funding that goes into the 988 line. And if you call 988 and press option 3, you get connected to LGBTQ plus specific care, or what I will call LGBTQ activists, specifically the Trevor Project. They're probably one of the biggest organizations behind the option 3 on the 988 line. Now, in a state like Washington, where parents do not have access to their child's medical and mental health information after they turn 13, and children over the age of 13, well, in Washington and several other Democrat-led states, so-called gender-affirming care is protected health care, so children of any age are able to access these services without parent consent. Now, what happens when a child calls the 988 line and they get connected with these LGBTQ activists? They get all kinds of support. So here is a list of what you would find on the 988 line if you are looking for the LGBTQ plus specific care. As you can see, there are a number of options, and most of these specifically target minor children. The LGBTQ for All organization actually has on their homepage, they have a direct link for finding what they're calling gender confirmation surgeons. Now, I think we can all agree that these surgeries that they're giving to children in the name of, quote, gender affirmation or gender confirmation is anything but, and is denying the gender and sex that a child is born with, creating so much confusion for these children who could already be going through some kind of a mental health crisis. When you throw all of this gender crap and this LGBTQ indoctrination on top of that, imagine how confusing this is to children. Now, I'm a Gen Xer, so we didn't really have this gender confusion stuff when I was a teenager. But I can imagine if you had all this stuff coming at you from every direction, whether it's at school, it's at your doctor's office. Today, I just saw that Nintendo has a list of their top LGBTQ plus games. When this is coming at you at every direction, it has got to be confusing, and that is the intention. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration announced that these funds will no longer be available for LGBTQ plus specific services, and that the line will now be to offer services to all people in crisis. They issued a statement on June 17th that reads, "The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline will no longer silo LGBT plus youth services, also known as the Press 3 option, to focus on serving all help seekers, including those previously served through the Press 3 option." The Press 3 option was established as a pilot program in fiscal year 2022 under a government agreement with a third party. The fiscal year 2023 omnibus included a congressional directive for $29.7 million to fund this specialized service. Federal funding in FY24 for the Press 3 services increased to $33 million. As of June 2025, more than $33 million in funds have been spent to support the subnetworks, fully expanding the monies allocated for 988 Lifeline LGB plus subnetwork services. Everyone who contacts the 988 Lifeline will continue to receive access to skilled, caring, culturally competent crisis counselors who can help with suicidal, substance misuse, or mental health crises, or any other kind of emotional distress. Anyone who calls the Lifeline will continue to receive compassion and help. I think this is a huge win. Number one, it takes the taxpayer funding out of it. And number two, it makes me think that they will not be staffing this line with LGBT activists anymore, and that these will be counselors that are actually able to help people through a mental health crisis. Because one of the things that I have personally seen in my experience with the 988 hotline in Washington state is that when these kids are connected to these activists, they don't encourage the children to have conversations with the parents. They actually encourage the children to keep it secret, which only exacerbates their mental health crisis. Children need their parents. Parents overwhelmingly want to support their children through a crisis. If a child is having some sort of gender confusion or gender dysphoria, parents want to be able to walk through that journey with their child. And I think the pulling of these taxpayer funds is a really big step in the right direction. Now, I want to caution parents who live in blue states. Most of these blue states also have state taxpayer dollars that are funding these types of services. For instance, Washington has a line called Hear Me WA, and it is specifically for minor children, although it does go up to age 25. It connects them to LGBTQ plus services. It connects them to housing and food and all sorts of other things. And kids can call this 988 line, and someone will actually come pick them up and take them from the home. They may or may not notify the parents. And I know this because it's happened to me. So I am telling you from experience, this is very real. It is going to become more and more common in blue states. And as we see moves like this from the Trump administration, you can rest assured that these blue states are going to up the ante, and they're going to give more state funding to these programs to ensure that they continue. But overall, this is a big win. This is a huge step in the right direction. It is important that our taxpayer funding for crisis hotlines such as the 988 line go to serve all people equally, because everyone in crisis deserves to have compassionate care and help. And we don't need to be making the crisis worse by separating children from their loving parents. As always, I've got links to more details down in the description below if you want to dig into this topic further. If anything changes in the blue states, whether more funding or less funding, I will be sure to give you an update on that as well. I would love to hear your comments on this, and I would love for you to share this with your networks. This is a huge win, and we must celebrate it, and we must double down and stay committed to protecting our children and making sure that all people receive the care that they deserve. If you're not already, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel and subscribe to our Substack, as that is the best way to get breaking alerts and calls to action. Thanks so much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.